Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Howdy partners, and welcome to this here YouTube channel. Today we're talking about bounty hunters, which is everybody's fan favorite, so join me for today's Bounty Hunter BO-nanza. Yee-hoo! Hello everyone, welcome to Dice Commando. Thank you for entertaining me through that little intro. Just having a little fun today with Bounty Hunter Bonanza. So why am I even talking about this at all? Well, let's back up 3 to 4 weeks now to when all of the RRG changes came through, as well as, of course, transformation on that fateful Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever day it was, right? But, you know, a lot of folks have been given to FC, Anakin, Fives, and all that. But there were a lot of changes, especially in the RRG side, that really made bounty hunters come to light, right? There were changes to Zuckuss, but the primary change is our boy here, Dengar, right? Dengar going to 1013 was a huge, huge change, right? I mean, we had kind of been able to play around with him previously with the Holocron, and there were a lot of cool decks came out of that, IG-88, and so on. So that's what I wanted to focus on today, are all of the new decks that kind of came out of that. And there's more than just, it's more than just Dengar, right? So, you know, in the intro I was kind of having fun, but it was also pointed, right? The guys that are in focus today really are Boba, Jango, IG-88, Dengar, and then Transition Hunter as well, because he's just good and he didn't actually get that point balance that we were expecting him to get. So let's go ahead and go. What I have today, I have 4 main deck lists that I want to go through. But the deck lists themselves aren't as important as really the pairings and the concept behind them, right? So first up, we have Boba, Jango, and Closing In, right? This plot is crazy, crazy good, right? Of course, it flips and makes you all sorts of money. So this is, to be clear, this is CM Boba with Jango, right? And the reason that I like that, well, it's just better than by any means. Like it's really just the previous Boba Jango by any means deck we had with just kind of a little better, but it lets you get a little more consistency out of that cost curve, because there's been 2 problems with this deck that I've seen in my experience, right? Well, there's 2 problems that are one problem, right? The 2 problems are, you want to play equipment for Jango for your money engine, and 2, you want to play bounties for not only Boba's ability, but also for your Night Sister Leia money engine, right? And you kind of use one money engine to pay the other money engine and so on, but it eats up like 2/3 of your deck, right? So what's cool about Closing In is, because Closing is really not that hard to pull off. It's really not, right? So what's cool about it is it can kind of let you free up some bounty spots, right? And that's what I think is cool, right? So in this, you can kind of run 5 to 6 bounty spots. You're, of course, running your equipment. You're running Slave 1 because that is just amazing with those 2 on the table. And then I have Entangle up here, but Entangle on this really represents the yellow removal suite that I like to play. I like to play the Shock. I like to play Entangle. And I like to play Reversal. Reversal's really good when you're playing a mono yellow team, right? So just going into this, I'm only running 6 downgrades, right? It's DOA, Death Mark, and Forced Labor. Those are really good. And then as far as the upgrades go, we're running Armor Plating because it's for free on Jango. Boba's Wrist Laser, I am running 2 of those. I know that one's a little more controversial because I can't tell you how many times I've been frustrated getting the +2. But I do have to say, getting it early and getting it out free it doesn't stink, right? If especially if you drop it and you get the dollar back for it and you blow a +2 on a modified, you're okay losing it, right? Because you would have played an event from your hand boosting something by 2, right? So you're okay with that. Donderbus, Splash Crystal, I do like that one. That's kind of the one I've landed on over the last iterations back and forth with the Z6 Jetpack. I've landed on Donderbus just for the redeploy. I know it's not an equipment, but at some point, like, this deck has too much money anyway. And then I have Gauntlet Rockets because we are playing bounties, and it's Gauntlet Rockets is really, really good when you have 2 targets to put it on. So moving into the support package, I'm playing 2 Slave 1. That one's a no-brainer. 1 Improvised Explosive. Now, admittedly, I really like an improvised explosive, maybe a little too much, I'll be honest with that. So if this is a tech slot that you want to change out, throw something into likely the event package, because the event package is a little slim here. So for events, I'm only playing 1 Bacta just because we're out of space, 1 DM, 2 Doubts, 2 Shocks, Entangles, Reversals, and then Tireless Pursuit. This I found to be really good with Boba, right? It just kind of helps to make stuff happen, right? Because you do generate indirect in this deck, it does happen. So I found Tireless Pursuit to be worthwhile. All right, so the next deck iteration that I want to go through is actually another version of Boba Jango. But this is Jango Boba Legacies, right? The 16-point Jango for an even 30, and then you play it with United, right? So it's not United We Stand, it's just United, right? Because it's the 0 to make it an even 30. And why I really like this one is, well, it's just different, and Boba's special can really do a lot of work. And to compare it to the previous version, right? Boba's always the first target in that deck, and it's very rare that you actually pull off like a huge Boba victory. I mean, it does happen, it does, but it's rare. So what I like here is the additional threat of, if you run up against primarily like a support deck or something where there's a lot of indirect sides on the table, like what I'm saying is like big, vehicle, 3 indirects and so on, that special can do work. So in this deck, it's very interesting. I'm actually not playing any bounties, right? I'm playing none whatsoever. Focus is on the Vibro Cutlass, obviously, for some of those big sides. Redeploy on yellow, because I am not sure who the target's going to be in this deck necessarily. I think it's actually going to be Jango to try to blast him down. But then again, I know, like for myself, when you sit down against Jango, it's kind of like the damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you go for him first and you can get him down, you win. If you go for him, sink a bunch of damage into him, and then he heals, you lose, right? So you have to pick. Obviously, Slave 1's in this as well, and then the yellow removal package, I'm not touching that, right? But the cool part about this is, right, no bounties. It really goes back to being kind of like an OG middle yellow deck, if that makes sense, right? So for upgrades, it lets us run a little more, right? Armor plating, Boba laser, just one of those in this one. Bounty mask, because now we're using Jango for our money engine because we don't have the bounties. We're running 2 Donderbus, Gauntlet Rockets, and Vibro Cutlass. Improvised Explosive, Slave 1, right? But now I'm running 2 Improvised Explosives. I do think they work really well in this deck. I'm running 1 Act. It does just help spread the damage around, right? You are generating indirect damage in this deck. It does happen. 2 Bactas now, right? Jango is basically your in-game. Desperate Measures, Doubt, Shock, Entangle, Reversal. No surprise there. I'm playing 1 Shock Tactic. That's for 5s, baby. And then Take Flight, right? That's a great, fun little card for re-rolling your yellow dice and trying to get a surprise out of this. So let's talk real quick about Boba Special, right? You'll notice that in here between Gauntlet Rockets and Vibro Cutlass, those are our dream plays of having 4s and 3s on the table. But realistically, we should be okay here. I mean, just from a consistency standpoint, looking at the points here, we should be okay resolving his special for a 2, right? And I'm just saying, get your mind in that line, because resolving it for a 2 or more is, like, the or more is the bonus part, right? But if you really think about it, 16 points, what he's sitting at with a 2-2 and then an effective 2, that's reasonable, right? So don't sit and hold the special for the dream play, right? Get that stuff out. Make sure that you're getting out what you need so that you can, succeed at winning the game. So that's what I have for these guys. Next pairing I want to talk about, I've actually been playing a bit, actually more than a bit lately. There's been some videos that have gone up lately. It's IG-88, Iggy, Dengar, and United for 30 points. And again, this is just with United, so that's the zero cost plot. Because why not, right? It's better than nothing. So this, we are, of course, running a bunch of bounties because Dengar is really good, right? In terms of pinging for that damage, you want to be able to make sure that you can do that. We're running Shakedown, Active Cruelty. Active Cruelty is an obvious choice here with IG-88's ability to spread stuff around with bounties, right? IG-88, of course, also needs the bounties, right? So Dengar, IG-88, both these guys depend on the bounties. That's why we're running 8 of them. And then, of course, Night Sister Lair for our money engine, because why the heck would you not, right? It's a no-brainer there. So for this one, I'm not running very many upgrades because I don't think you need to, right? So I've got 2 Dunderbuss, I have 2 DX2s, and then I have Pulse Cannon. You could, if you want, swap out the Pulse Cannon for the Gauntlet Rockets, right? If that's more your thing. I just kind of like the closing ability of the Pulse Cannon, and when that die hits the table, people get really scared and really focus on that die. So I kind of like that, but certainly running the Gauntlet Rockets is also a viable option. Right, we have the 8 downgrades there, kind of the self-explanatory 8 downgrades there. We have Punishing 1 in this, which is kind of my flavor, and then Improvised Explosive. I have 2 Active Cruelties, 1 DM, 1 Doubt. I have the yellow removal package again, except in the case here, I have Shakedown as well, because both of these guys have Disrupt sides. The Donnerbus also has Disrupt side. Works really well when basically all of your... Oh, DX2 has Disrupt side, right? Everything has Disrupt side, so we're running Shakedown because that's great, fantastic value. All right, last deck I want to focus on today. Give me a break here. All right, so last deck today is IG-88 and Trandoshan Hunter, and in this case, I'm actually still using Any Means. This is not an old deck list. I actually prefer, with these guys, Any Means over Closing In, because this deck is just straight punch you in the face aggro, right? If you get a blank on one of your guys, you want to throw that in, call it a day, claim and get out, right? And I mean, we're not interested in a ton of money in this deck because it's just kind of punch you in the face, go for it, Bounty Hunter aggro, right? So in this case, again, we're playing 8 copies of Bounties, Forced Labor, etc. They do a lot of work here. Shakedown, Active Cruelty, Night Sister Lair. It's basically the same as the Dengar deck. It just plays a little different because you have the Trando to flip instead of Dengar doing the damage. So you're less health, but you're more punch in the face, right? So it's just the trade-off here. And what you'll notice going through these is the 2 decks actually don't look that different. The cost curve in this deck is lower, though, which I think is self-explanatory because of the Trandoshan's 3-for-1, right? So in this case, I'm playing Boba Wrist Laser, I'm playing Donderbus, and I am playing the DX2, right? I then have the 8 downgrades, as you would expect. I am playing 1 IG-2000. I know that doesn't quite fit with the cost curve, but if for some crazy reason they go for IG-88 first, this one being on the table can also help you do things, right? Now remember, once IG is gone, the power action's gone, but IG-2000 is a good support. So I kind of have it in. Again, if you don't like that choice, that's well within your right to switch it out. I do think that trying to stay within the 2, like this is really the only thing that breaks that 2 cost curve, right? You'll notice that I'm not playing Reversal in this deck because I don't really ever find the availability to get there. So in this case, again, 2 Active Cruelties, that's really, really good in this deck. 1 DM, 2 Shocks, 2 Entangles. In this case, I'm playing Prey Upon, right? And I'm playing Shakedown and Rendezvous, right? It's just the extra removal in, right? The Prey Upon moves in and takes over that slot that we left by not doing Reversal, right? It is obviously not a 1-to-1, but again, we're worried about cost curve in this deck, right? So your flex slot is IG-2000 there, and yeah, we can go from there. So anyway, just running through it, the reason I wanted to have today's cast is because I think that with everything else going on, that a lot of the discussion around kind of the strength of the bounty hunters in that tier 1.5 range, maybe tier 2. I mean, I don't know where everything falls these days within everyone's own personal, value system. But I think that there's a lot of really cool decks out there with the bounty hunters. They're a lot of fun because they're, that mono 2 character middle. I'm having a lot of fun with all these different variants, and I hope you will too. So anyway, that's my piece today. Thank you very much for joining me, and go Commando.